right, Ray? I'm just sharing our understanding of it, and hopefully that will offer some value.
To be politically correct inconveniences, right? And, you know.
Hello, my name is Russ, Littau, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Spirituality Expert. If you wish to find out more about us, just go to the website listed below, and it gives you an overview of the different things we offer. Actually, if you scroll down on the main page, you'll see a link called Ask the Expert, and it gives you an archive of our TV shows and, radio programs and things like this. So thanks for joining us. The question that I'm sharing my comments on, and it's almost not an answer, but some comments on. And the reason I say that is because it's a really deep question. I mean, you folks who have been sending us questions, these are really good questions, and they're not really surfacey. You can tell they're well thought out and really heartfelt, and they're making me really think. So the question was, and I guess maybe it's just asking my comments or my thoughts on guilt, right? And so it's actually one of our students sent us the question asking about guilt and just sort of how that fits. And I guess I'll just kind of use it as kind of a jumping off point for the way I frame and understand and work with what we call guilt. So for me, one of the first things is, and understand this is just my perspective, okay, and just based on my personal experiences and kind of working with other folks, is I really have not found a lot of redeeming value in feeling guilty. Now, for me, guilt does a really good job of paralyzing us, I find, right? Now maybe some clarification here. So for me, guilt and I realize you're just sort of playing with words here, but guilt and conviction are two very different things. Or guilt and feeling responsible are two different things. You see, for me, feeling responsible or feeling convicted or conviction really motivates us to action, right? And this is what I do know, is that living a self-empowered, healing, evolving life is going to take action. It's going to take you doing something. Now, whether that's in your thought processes, whether that's in your behaviors, it's usually a combination of both, right? But it requires doing something, right? And it requires taking action now, looking forward. And it motivates us, right? I find guilt kind of does the exact opposite. When you think about it, and I'll just use those two words, guilt and conviction, just as sort of bouncing off points here. But conviction propels us forward. It motivates us to change, right? Guilt kind of does the exact opposite. It's looking backwards, right? And I find that it tends to paralyze us. In my own life and working with people, that experience of feeling guilty is really a tough one. And when you're working with a person, until they start to address and resolve that, it's really a burden to them moving forward. Right? Not that they don't move forward, but it's like it's really adds a lot of drag, right, to your progress forward. And so one of the things I think when working with the experience of guilt or feeling guilty is, the first thing for me is to, cut ourselves a bit of slack. All of us have done things, have thought things, whatever, in the past that have caused us, to look at them and, oh God, what was I thinking? What was I saying? What a doughhead, kind of thing, right? That may be making it sound really pretty. We may have other words we use for it, but we just do, right? And so I guess for me, so let's look at that experience of guilt and go, how, if I just stay there, right? First, for me, the first question is, how is that helping anybody? Really? Because that experience you're feeling guilty for, it only exists in one place, right? And that's as a memory, right? I mean, it's gone, right? Physically, it's gone. So, the whole experience of feeling guilty is very much an inner experience, right? Because the other thing is, we don't know how the other person is, what sort of they took away from the experience, really. We don't know how they've metabolized it. We don't know what they've done with it or haven't done with it, really. So for me, once again, it comes down to you, right? Responsibility, right? Conviction, responsibility, right? It's what are you going to do with it, right? And so for me, the first thing is, let's cut ourselves a bit of slack. And then I guess the second thing is, for me, is I just look at it logically, if you will, and a couple of questions kind of come into my head. And the first one is, who am I helping by feeling guilty, right? If that's all I'm doing, right? Am I helping me? Well, probably not. And really, when you think about it, am I helping the other person? Well, probably not either, right? Because when we feel guilty, it really does tend to paralyze us, right? So, if we feel conviction and responsibility, we get out and we do something, right? But if we're just feeling guilty and not doing something, right? How is that helping them, right? When you think about it, right? So I guess for me, feeling guilty, and especially when we sort of marinate ourselves in it and we go over and over in our head about it and that type of stuff, if you just look at it logically, how is that helping anybody, right? And it's been my experience that it isn't, and how is looking in the past exclusively, not obviously saying we can't learn from the past. I think that's what conviction and responsibility is, right? How is living in the past essentially going to help anybody? How is that going to improve our personal experience? How is that going to give us a really good, evolving, healing foundation to take whatever actions we want to take, which it tends not to, right? But if we can look at it from a perspective of conviction, right, which to me is, okay, what's done is done. What can I do with it now? Right? Because, you can sit and feel guilty all you want. Is that really helping anybody? No. Or I can look at it from a place of conviction and go, okay, it is what it is. What do I need to do now? Right? Because now what we're doing is we're saying, okay, what can I do in this moment that is going to now affect or create in my future experience? Right? So maybe it is, maybe there are some behaviors that we want to change. I don't know. Maybe there's some thought processes we want to change. Maybe there is some, I'm going to say compensation, for past acts or whatever it is. I don't know. Right? But whatever actions you're now doing it from a place of moving forward, of healing, both for you and maybe the other person, place, thing, or event, right? But now you're going from a place of healing and moving forward rather than stagnation and looking backwards. You know what? Maybe that's the answer, right? For me, you can choose to frame that experience, those memories, in one of two ways. You can choose to experience it as guilt, in which case you're looking backwards and ends up in stagnation, right? Or you can choose to frame it from a place of conviction, which motivates us to change, and we start to create into the future. I like that. That's good. Good question. And I like the response. Perfect. Again, I really appreciate your comments and your questions that you're sending me. They are good, really, really making me work. That's perfect. If you want to send me your own comment or question or suggestion for a topic in another show, as I mentioned, go to the go to healingcenter.ca, go to the Ask the Experts webpage. You can scroll down, fill in a form, send it my way, and you just might be the topic of an upcoming episode. Excellent. As I said, my name is Russ Littau, founder of the Healing Center and Convergence Reiki. This is another episode of Ask the Experts Radio and TV, living spiritually in a practical world. See you next time. Right, Ray, I'm just sharing our understanding of it, and hopefully that will offer some value.
There'd be politically correct inconveniences, right? And,